guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. For those of you watching, I hope that you're having a good Ramadan and your fasts are going well. Just a quick message from the Real Football Talk. There's a lot of you guys watching who have not subscribed yet, so please do subscribe. It would really help us. And yeah, please make sure you like the videos, because what it does is it pushes it out to more people. So it'd be really helpful for us, and we do really appreciate your support. Hello, Adib. How are you? How's Ramadan going?
Good to see some impassioned with advertising.
Not advertising, just no, because you know what? I just looked at it the other day, and it's like there's about 87% of people watching who is not subscribed. So you know, it'd be it'd
The
be
analytics, yeah? You've been looking at the analytics.
it'd be good if they get involved and support the channel, because they are watching. So it'd be good. But yeah, how's fasting going for you? Good.
Yeah, just you're going fast, really. Coming up to the last 10 days soon. And yeah, just been really busy with work and everything. So kind of flown by.
It's good. Yeah, it's been a hectic week for me. I don't think I've
When
had.
is it any different?
Yeah, I haven't had, I think, a single iftar at home this week, so it's been a bit of madness. But yeah, let's get going. It's been a bit of a madness in the Premier League this week. Thriller at Anfield, lots of controversy in the Brighton game against Spurs, and then obviously we had a lot of the managerial issues with regards to Leicester. You got new manager in at Chelsea, or temporary manager, Frank Lampard. And yeah, and relegation is crazy. There's different teams being coming up and down every week. So yeah, crazy again. But let's
The key word is interim. I was going to say interim manager.
caretaker.
Yeah.
Just to please the fans. But let's start at Anfield. I mean, what a match! I mean, full of action, full of tactical changes, and yeah, full of thrills really, because both halves it was completely different. And yeah, as a fan, I was like up and down so much. It's crazy. Even in the last minute when the break goes through and Gabriel passes to Martinelli, and you're like standing up thinking, oh, it's all open up, and then he messes up the pass. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What did you make of it? Because yeah, my heart was literally in a string going up and down.
Yeah, we all have Xhaka to thank for that becoming an entertaining game, because up until that incident, we were just super impressed with Arsenal. I mean, they completely quieted the crowd, dominate the game, easily beat the press, really made exposed Liverpool with for all the flaws that they have. And obviously we'll go into it in detail, but to do that at Anfield and to quiet the crowd like that, and play with that much confidence, it surprised me. I mean, the thing was, so many Arsenal fans were predicting Arsenal to win that, and that they're on form and they're gonna do
Oh
Liverpool.
man,
And I was thinking they were crazy.
see,
This is
see, see,
Anfield. This is Liverpool.
Anfield.
They're gonna turn up. And then I was watching it for 35 minutes thinking, oh my gosh, everything that was being said, all those deluded fans were
Uh,
actually.
no. It's what I'll say is it's not. I had it as a like a three. I saw it going either way because of the form, and obviously the Anfield factor. I was like, it could be 3-1 to Arsenal, it could be 3-1 to Liverpool.
Two to four state of defense, yeah.
What's that? No, it's not saying, because that's how I genuinely saw it, because I saw as if Liverpool get the goal, their fans going to be up for it, and especially when they're attacking the club cop end, it's going to be crazy. And we saw that, and that's what was in my thing. And also, if you look at it, since I think 2016, the last team to beat Liverpool, top six team to beat Liverpool at Anfield, was Manchester United. So even City in this great run, they haven't been able to beat Liverpool at Anfield. So it is a fortress, and it does have some kind of, I don't know, some energy or something that it throws up a mischief against any team that's playing in there.
Well, we saw it. If
Yeah.
yesterday was the advert
It,
for the magic of the Anfield
yeah.
crowd, because how they managed to get a performance out of that Liverpool team who looked completely
Crazy.
lost. I mean, the first 35 minutes, I was ready to, I was going to come out with some, proper harsh lines, because I was just thinking, for all the, you know, for all the, the 9-0 win against United.
7-7. Whoa,
Oh,
whoa.
7-0, my bad.
Ah, 9-0 now.
It felt like that. So I still didn't think United played as bad as the way Liverpool played for the first day. But I'm like, there was stuff that we're watching that is like comical,
Mhm.
and I genuinely felt it was real comical. Like, this is playground stuff
I
type of
did. I did.
mistakes.
I mean, how is
Trent, I mean,
Trent?
I don't know what else to say.
How is
In the
Trent getting
first
beaten
5 minutes.
by a straight ball? Come on, man. It's a straight. It's not even diagonal ball. It's a straight ball.
The thing is, we have to ask the question, because the thing, and I think this is, it's let's go deep into
No,
this.
no,
The
let's do
facts
this.
are, you have quite a few teams. There's an innovation that started. I saw uh, Ten Hag do it before. We've seen Pep do it, but Pep always done it where he gets one of the fullbacks into midfield. He's always
You do
previously,
it Bayern Munich and stuff with Lahm and
but
sorry,
he's
Kimmich.
always, but he's used it slightly differently. He always did it to bring the extra man for the counter press. So it was more an off the ball tactic than an on the ball tactic. Then, as very early this year, we saw Ten Hag use it as an on the ball tactic, which is to force opposition to beat the press, basically get a second defensive midfielder in, but use the fullback. So, and now you're seeing pretty much a lot of the teams do it. City are doing it better than anyone else. But one team that doesn't do any of this stuff is Liverpool,
Yeah,
until
yeah.
yesterday. And
I,
it's like they did not actually understand the concept, or they couldn't train or teach or decide around the player. Because even Kyle Walker performed the duty better than what Trent was doing. Trent was like all at sea, lost, playing that role of coming in as a midfielder. And
Mhm.
it was like, have they even done this in training? Because it looked so bad.
Well, Klopp said that they've done this previously, but obviously he hasn't done it in a while, so that's why he looked like a fish out of water. But I don't know
That
how
was
much I'd read
totally
into that.
different.
I just think, you know what, he was completely lost and it was a waste
When,
of a player.
when they've done it previously, where it's not really, it's going, making the runs inside, but the ball is already played forward.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not hanging around in defense when Trent goes inside. It's already played forward, and then Trent, instead of staying out wide, will go into
Go
midfield.
inside, yeah.
Again, a bit more the way Man City used to do it, which was more about the counter press. That when the ball comes back out, it's gonna Trent's there as a to get. But this was doing it the way everyone's doing it this year, which is go into that midfield and create an overload or from the press. Combat the press, because you got three back at the back, two central midfielders. Most teams are pressing with five.
Mm.
Now you've got a way to just dissect and pass straight through the lines, because you've got the extra midfielder. So yeah, that's what's going on, and basically they were terrible at it, and I couldn't understand how in such a big game,
Yeah.
you can execute it that bad. And for me, then it started to make me think about, well, you know, how much is Klopp really good at a plan B or tactical nuances like this? When you look at it, his plan A is always excellent. The pressing, the counter pressing, the direct football, the 4-3-3. Whenever he's tried to change it, it's never quite worked, and that's why he ends up going back to 4-3-3. Even at the start of the season, how many times did they change the formation? They went to 4-2-3-1. They went to 4-2-2-2.
4-4, yeah.
Yeah, 4-4. Loads of different variations, and they weren't winning. And here they weren't winning because you're basically minus a player on and off the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you look at the opposition team and Zinchenko doing it and playing it so comfortably and doing it so comfortably, and you just think,
You know what? I was surprised the way he was beating their press though, because obviously Liverpool's press is just crazy, but it's just good to see how easily he was beating their
because
press.
it's formulaic, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
they press with X amount of players, the two midfielders. Fabinho sits in. Even Fabinho sometimes will go, but he'll stay central. Yeah. And the 3 forward players, and maybe the fullbacks will go tight in on the wingers, and they leave the 2 at the back.
2 at the back,
That's it. And if the striker goes short, they'll leave 1 at the back, and one of the defenders will go tight. That's how it is. Now you're forcing Fabinho to come up, and that's where Arsenal are getting all the success, because Odegaard was always free. Saka, Martinelli, and Gabriel Hayes is basically always 4 against 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's easy to play through the line, to play through Liverpool's press.
But I mean, the amount of time they were able to find Martinelli free to run at them 1-on-1, and there was no sight of Trent. I was just like, how can they do that, man? Because if they carry this on, I was just like, if they carry this on, this is just going to be like 4-5-0 at the rate they were going at.
The thing is, if you look at Arsenal, they adjusted for the Trent coming inside straight away.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were very, very smart with it. It was more Odegaard pressing the centre backs, and Hayes either got blocking the path into Trent, or he's going out wide to the third defender on the right hand side. So, and leaving enough that Martinelli or someone else to come in and pick up the Trent and put the press there. So they man for man adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
But when Zinchenko was coming in, Liverpool done no change to the fact that you're a man short and you can't really afford to go man for man to the back line.
But that's the thing. Liverpool always done it this one way, and I think you've hit the nail in the coffin with regards to Klopp. I don't think he does anything to his team where he tactically changes it within the game, or if there is something going on like that. I don't think his players.
Other than putting more forwards on the pitch.
No, that's just overloading, isn't it? That's overloading. That's overloading, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just overloading with the number of players there is. But another thing to mention, like, what did you make of Arteta's kind of trick of every time Liverpool got a chance and they miss or whatever, someone pretended to be injured, and then they do the tactical briefing once that guy gets a recovery. I thought it was smart. It just quiets the crowd down and everything. I was like, you know what? This is really good.
Yeah, but I think if you're ever going to do it, this was the time to do it. It's not something you'd get away with doing.
Oh, yeah.
Now that it's highlighted, you try and do it again. People pull out the yellow card and stop it. So I think when you're going for the title, you have that move, you do it. That was the one time you're gonna get away with it, and because it's first time.
It's just good, isn't it? It's just good out of the box. I was like, it just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, it's smart.
Yeah, but I think they needed a strategy for when Xhaka gets all emotional.
So let's not talk about
ultimately, we're only talking about it being a thriller because of Xhaka.
Yeah. I mean, even the goal just before halftime made a massive impact, because obviously that doesn't go in, goes in 2-0, then it's
but that only happened because of the Xhaka incident. I mean, the temperature rised, the players were moving forward. Suddenly, the Liverpool players were winning tackles. Suddenly, they're flying
for the next
in.
5 minutes, they were winning all the second balls.
And before that point, it was just Arsenal's winning the ball at ease, having a player everywhere the ball went. So.
But
that passion and is a cost.
second half, Ramsdale. I mean, whew, it's the two saves, one from Konate and the other one from Salah, where he was took a deflection and gone. I mean,
I think the
sensational.
Salah one was really impressive.
Sensational. I was like, whoa, yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that was unbelievable with the deflection, just literally going into the top corner.
Top corner, yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
this is the one thing that I've been calling out for is that in big games, in big situations, this he usually lacks focus and he causes makes an error because remember we talked a lot about him not stepping and jumping into it and really kind of once he's going up he jumps and that's why he can't get that angle to the elevation to push up. But it seems like he's taken that because this is what Allison does. Allison will save you or save you a point or save you a game just by a save, and this is literally what he's done in that game yesterday.
yeah, like I said, I can't say Liverpool were playing scintillating football or anything, but when they were pumping it and just getting the ball in the box, they were causing mayhem because of the conviction, the amount of players running in. It always seemed like they had an overload somewhere. And Arsenal were hanging on.
Yeah, I didn't agree with also some of the decisions that Arteta made to bring on some of the players.
Yeah, I mean, taking up Gabriel Jesus was a joke.
And I'll get to that. And the decision not to change some of the players quick enough because at the end of the day, that led up to Costa. I don't know why in a big game like that you say your leader is Odegaard, you say your leader is Jesus at Anfield. Why would you take your two big boys off? Why?
But so it's not necessarily just about taking them off. When you're watching the game, how many times did Jesus make an attack or win the ball or slow the game down?
Yeah.
There's only two players that had composure in the Arsenal shirt in the second half. That's Jesus and Partey.
Yeah.
Everyone else was feeling it under the pressure. Well, absolutely feeling it. Just trying to play fast football, attack, get rid of the ball straight away. They lost their composure. Unless it went to Jesus or Partey, they slowed it down and got the game going again.
Yeah, they slowed the tempo of the game and just.
I was absolutely shocked when they took off Gabriel Jesus because there was a few times where he made something out of nothing and then they kept the ball for one.
It's not even that. There has been time where he actually dropped deep and won the ball and started the counter for us. So it was a surprising decision that he took Jesus off. Maybe because I don't know, they have stats and stuff in terms of like their performance level and stuff. Maybe because I'm just making an excuse for him, but it could be that. But then again, you can see Zinchenko is getting overloaded. Why are you putting Kyo on? The guy hasn't even. I think he played about 10 or 15 minutes of Premier League football. Why do you put that guy on? I just didn't understand it. I was like,
the thing is, you have played Tierney. Tierney has played as a third back.
That's what I'm saying.
He has played in that role for Arsenal before.
Who you mean? And he's a good defender. At least you know what, he'll give it. But it's because where was Kyo? I don't think I've seen him in the whole.
The first thing he did was give a free kick away.
No, he didn't. They went on a counter attack. They didn't. The first thing he did was swipe someone out. I'm like, that's
what I mean. Give a free kick away. That's what I said. Give a free kick away.
I was like, this is just a fish out of water. You put him in an Anfield, the biggest game, and and Zinchenko should have been taken off way earlier. I thought he left it on too late, and then obviously it cost us. I don't know what he was doing. I was letting Trent rip him like that. Come on, man. Come on. And then crying on the bench. Allow it. Forget about it, man.
It can happen at the end of the day. That's a quality attacking player.
Forget about it crying on the bench. Take the freaking guy out. Just get a yellow card. Take him out. Done.
Yeah, but they're under the cosh. At the end of the day, Liverpool deserved to get back into it.
No, they did. Second half.
They really, the crowd and everyone just made a good spectacle and it was an exciting game. But still, at the end of it, just super impressed with Arsenal. It's another tick. It's another challenge. Because I know, everyone says,
well, Arteta said it's too much drop, isn't it?
Tough.
Yeah.
But, the toughest away game is Anfield.
Yeah.
No matter what, that's the toughest one. And you saw the reasons why. That crowd, when it gets going and the
It's
players
crazy,
get into that possessed mode, where they just press it everywhere and anything, and it just seems random. It's hard.
Yeah.
It suffocates you.
But what do you make of Klopp? He seems to suggest that obviously they're improving, and game on game he sees like more of his team. Do you buy too much into it, or is he just trying to build confidence of the team? Is that what he's doing? Because that's what it seems like to me. It seems like he's trying to give confidence to press conference, etc., saying that, you know what, they're doing the right things and they're getting back to that full mode.
Obviously, he is trying to keep the confidence of the players up, but I think Klopp will be a much better manager next season for this season, because if you look at the way the Premiership is going, now it's evolved again. Klopp made the focus all about pressing and counter pressing, and now you're seeing the solutions against his philosophy. He made the gegenpress his most creative, tool, his most creative aspect for creating goals and scoring goals. Now you've seen teams adjust by having extra men, by being more creative in how they use the fullbacks to create the overload to beat the press.
Yeah.
So now you're going back to teams that are ultimately fundamentally about possession or about technical ability, being brave. And you look at the teams, all of the top 4 teams, they are the most bravest teams.
They are.
Even if United don't always do it well in terms of keeping possession, is most of the time it's been because their backups can't execute it.
Yeah.
So they're improvising.
But the idea is there. The idea is there. That's
Eriksen is there, but case is it, they are playing to midfield. They are trying to dominate possession. They're trying to beat the press, to having extra bodies in that defensive midfield. But they're also getting 2 attacking midfielders up, along with the 3 wide players, 3 forward players. So they're always trying to do a variation of 5-on-5, 3 at the back, 2 defensive mids, 2 attacking mids, 3 at the front.
Yeah,
it's a 3-2, 3-3 formation.
3-2-2-3, because the 2 bombs there as the 8s, isn't it?
Yeah, and all that's doing is forcing or asking the question of the opposition: do you want to press with 5-6 players and leave 4 at the back against our 5? And if we somehow get it through, it's 5 against 4.
It's 5 against 4, yeah.
Which we saw a lot of yesterday. Arsenal just always had extra players attacking the back 3. So, and so now you're seeing the results of Klopp's system, and now he is first time have to think of different solutions. But he hasn't mastered it. He definitely trained the players in executing it very well, but he will have to improve. And it'd be interesting to see if he adds the right coaches in to his, because the big turnaround and what made Liverpool take the jump was when they actually changed their coaching personnel. When they got rid of Buvac, the brains, and they got Linders into more powerful position. They changed a lot of the other coaches. It was all with the idea of adding to the elements that Klopp wasn't good at or didn't have answers to, and getting the expertise in. Now what's happened is they've stayed to those changes, and they need to basically do a revamp again. Get people who can play possession, who knows how to tactically train the players a bit more in their being flexible with the formation. So I do think Klopp will be better next year. As we all know, it's hard to do these type of changes with senior players. They want to stick to what's worked for them all their career. They're not as open to new ideas. So he does definitely need backing. But Liverpool are in a very difficult situation. I look at all the other teams. They're not making the top 4 well effective, because at the end of the day, they might still attract players, and that's because of Klopp tapping up. And but the fact is still the same. When you hire aside Champions League quality players and you're not in the Champions League, you pay a premium in wages, a lot more. And we know Liverpool, everything they've been doing is about being smart and not overpaying for anything in terms of wages or transfer fees. So no matter what, it's going to cause them difficulty. They will have to change, and they will have to take a bit of a gamble just to stay with the teams, because other teams, if you look at all the other teams now, the teams that are more tactical in their approach are the ones progressing. The other teams that all the ones who you got the counter-attacking managers. They're in the Europa places. You got the counter-pressing managers. They're not anywhere. They're in the Europa. The managers that are all going for a challenging now are all managers of possession and tactical.
Both. It's the both, isn't it? It's both combos.
It's that tactical fluidity in your formation.
Yeah.
So, the only one who from those teams that aren't like that is Newcastle. Newcastle is still a bit about all the counter pressing, but the thing is, they're a team that's fully fresh every week. They're not having to juggle a fixture list, so they've played a lot less than everyone else. So they can put their strongest lineup out who are full. And the biggest thing you notice about Newcastle is their fitness is superior than anyone's. So
something focus definitely.
The evolution of football keeps continuing, or the cycle keeps going back around, and then it's going to go back to.
But is there a danger of obviously them not even making any European competition, because they're sitting on 8th. They got Brighton 2 points ahead. Sorry, where is the points? There you go. Sorry. They got Brighton 2 points ahead. They got Aston Villa 3 points ahead. And then obviously you got Tottenham, Manchester United, so on and so forth. So is there a danger of that? Because if they don't pick up points and they're not very consistent at the moment, there is they miss out completely.
I think the idea of this Liverpool team really enough, 8 wins in a row, even though they can, this version of Liverpool, I just don't see it. The flaws in the way they defend, the amount of players off form. Van Dijk did seem put a tackle in yesterday, even for the second goal. And you only got one man to mark, and you choose to mark the penalty.
Listen, Jesus jumped and beat him. Come on, man.
What are you talking about? He's completely free. He didn't even have to make a second run. He didn't have to run forward and trick.
Oh no!
He stood next to him, 2 steps back and headed the ball.
Not even that. Within the game, there was a couple of headers where Van Dijk went in with Jesus, and Jesus won the ball.
But there was no guy needed in creating the space. And look, someone tell me or tell Fingy Van Dijk, where the heck is Martinelli crossing? When the guy took a heavy touch, looked up for like 2 seconds. There's only one player in the box, and who is he looking at? Someone in the crowd? I don't know.
He was
just ignored the fact that he's meant to be defending across. It's poor. At the end of the day, everyone wants to rate Van Dijk, but he's playing poor. That's comical defending. When you got a player going behind you, you cannot go completely side. You have to have an open stance.
Do you think he's expecting Robertson to cover him? Is that what it is? Do you reckon he's expecting Robertson to come in?
But check. He didn't even check.
Yeah.
Check. Call him. Where's your leadership? Where's the communication?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something even the Netherlands legends called out on Van Dijk, saying, there is no leadership from him. So yeah. Tricky one. But let's move on, because we briefly touched up on it. Brighton away at Spurs. I mean, where do we begin? Where do we begin? Talk about Daniel Levy buying the refs. I mean, if there was a game to demonstrate that, this was it. How are Brighton robbed? I do not know. And this is not me hating against Tottenham. This is actually blatant cheat. That's what it was.
And like I said, VAR maybe being sponsored by ENIC or something like that because it doesn't make sense how many VAR decisions they get
Okay,
going his
yeah,
way.
even Stuart Atwell didn't. This guy,
Yeah, but Stuart Atwell is
he's
like that every
he's the
game.
same guy that got demoted from the. I think he was demoted from the Premier League. He came back. He was brought back. I think last year or the year before, where he came back and made another two major errors, which the Premier League apologized for, and made errors again now.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he obviously knows people high up in the FA and keeps getting
What, Daniel Levy?
9 lives. No, Atwell.
No, I'm
Because
saying
you see,
Daniel
he's
Levy
just a
knows.
footballer.
Sorry, Atwell knows Daniel Levy.
They both, yeah, you could say both know, innit? But yeah, what a game. Brighton was amazing.
Yeah,
Tottenham were terrible, and yet they got the win. And
yeah,
it's a
smash and grab.
quite and similar. There's a lot of similarities to the to the Arsenal Liverpool game in the sense that it took antics from De Zerbi to create the fight and the passion and the unity that the Tottenham players needed to go on and win that game. And just as we've been harsh about Xhaka, we have to be equally as harsh, if not more, with De Zerbi because the whole game, before the game, the guy was just doing antics. And it is I know
So
it's one thing making your point, it's another thing when you become more important than the performance of your team.
yeah, yeah. But Adi, don't you think also anyone would be outraged with some of the decisions that were made? Because all right,
But
let's look at the Mitoma goal. Come on, how more blatant do you need? It's over his sleeve. He hit him here. How is that a handball? That was the rule. If it's above the sleeve, it's not a handball.
the thing is,
What's there
thing
to
it's like Ten Hag keeps saying, the issue is around consistency because I'm sure I remember earlier on in the season, Harry Kane getting a decision with a goal like that. So
yeah.
it's the consistency of it. But De Zerbi wasn't doing any of the antics. He wasn't upset with anything around the decision making of the referees. He just had it in for Stellini. Guess why? Because Stellini
Called
was
him out in the Italian
praising
press.
was praising Potter in the Italian press. I mean, how more childish and immature can you get?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, get over your ego. At the end of the day, you're a good manager, you're doing excellent things, but you lost the plot. At the end of the day, you lost the plot and you cost your team the game because at the end of the day, they were completely annihilating Tottenham.
They
So
were.
it was like it was embarrassing how Tottenham had no clue how to stop Brighton's attacks. Every time Brighton attacked, they were cutting through them.
Yeah.
And it would have been just a matter of time before they scored a goal. Guess what? After that, they didn't create anything.
No, not much chances, no.
After that incident, nothing happened. So what are you doing on the touchline? If you're not there, focused on your team to benefit your team, then what is the point of you being there? All you've done is given the opposition motivation, and suddenly, all the other players started to put shift, exactly like the Liverpool. But everyone started diving in. Everyone started winning the ball.
That's fair point. But I mean, what do we make of this? Even the penalty decision. How more clear and obvious does it need to be for the penalty to be given?
Yeah, that one was probably one of the shocking decisions of the season. That one, and the thing is, so many softer penalties have been given.
Yeah,
and so many ones where you think, and it's how many soft penalties has Harry Kane won this year?
I mean, he wins every year.
Yeah, but the point is, there is definitely a bias amongst the VAR officials. No matter what anyone says, VAR, everyone is going on or thinks it's like a robot that's doing it. No, it's not. It's still a human being who is a football fan who potentially can get influenced. And there is definitely question marks around because everyone just says, because it's VAR, they don't question it. If anything, it allows more corporate style manipulation. than the referee on the field being dodgy. But at least the whole world can see it and can. But in this case, I definitely don't trust VAR and the
I
independence of VAR.
I
Said
can't.
that last year. I don't think
Yeah.
it more so this year. There are certain teams that get too much rub of the green. Believe
That's two in one game. Okay, the McAllister one, yeah, you could say he strikes his hand. Because it's not clear.
from the back angle, it looks like he touched his hips.
It touched his hips and then when it touched his hand.
But from the front angle, that's a misleading angle.
Yeah.
Because if the ball is even 1 yard ahead of me, if you look at the front, it's going to always look like it's touching me.
Yeah.
So I either if they didn't have a side angle, it's like offside. But you don't judge an offside from the goal line cameras. You judge from the side line. You had to do the same thing for that goal. But they didn't look at that.
What I was gonna say is, if it's not clear and obvious error, the goal should have stood. That is, if they don't have
because the goal was disallowed because of the linesman said it was a handball. So there had to be a clear, obvious error to overturn it.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
But even then, it's the linesman's mistake.
Yeah.
That how can he make that call? He couldn't.
He couldn't. No, he couldn't be sure. So there's just too many errors. And then obviously in the Liverpool game, you have Robertson getting elbowed by the linesman.
Yeah, and I think it's just unfortunate. It wasn't an elbow. Yeah, he tried to push him away and ended up connected.
But what do you make of it?
I'm on the Roy Keane camp.
Why is Robertson even running up to him? Why is he even running up to him?
I know that he's the one who touches the linesman first.
Yeah, so it's just. Well, PGMOL has come out and said that they're going to investigate him and he's suspended until obviously the investigation finishes.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the guy, look, he's a top individual.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid of getting a bit argy-bargy to get it. And he had biceps and, he gave a bit of his mind. But
use this
really, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the human beings. And this is the thing definitely needs to get clamped down on and I hope they don't overdo it. But the fact is, the Premier League as a product is attracting the best managers, the best players. Many of the other leagues are struggling. They don't have the finances.
100%.
And the way the league is played, most of the better managers like managing in the Premiership. So with that, you're going to get more antics because everyone's got winning mentality and everyone will go into the grey areas to win. Everyone is going to do things.
That's all fine.
But
if we're having the best in class in everything, I do, but we also need the best in class in referees. I personally don't think our referees are good enough.
Yeah,
there are a couple who are good. I don't think the referee and obviously the people in VAR, which is the other referees, again, it's just not good enough.
I do have more hope. I know everyone keeps mocking it. These apologies, they are significant. They're not insignificant.
They are big.
They're not going to change the result, but at the end of the day, it's a change in culture. Because under Mike Riley, they never accept fault for anything. I like the fact that under Howard Webb, they are being open, they are being transparent, they are taking accountability because that's the first step to change. And I'm more interested to see because he came in mid-season. I'm interested to see what changes he makes for next year, and I do think it's going to get better.
But that's what I was going to say. Going forward, because he is making those changes, it's going to take time.
Look, getting rid of Halsey tells you he's getting rid of all the institutional statues that's been there for years about being incompetent and but they're there because they're mates. He's getting rid of it already. So I do trust Howard Webb, but we're gonna have to put up with the rest of the.
I do. I mean, let's move away from obviously the referee part because it's been a major issue during this week and been continuously an issue. But with regards to Spurs and Stellini, what do you make of him? I mean, second game in charge. Is there much change from what Conte was doing? I don't think so. It doesn't look like anything has changed.
Yeah, I mean they dropped off. The pressing was terrible, and you know, let's be honest. Other than if it wasn't for having two great finishes
Yeah.
from Song and Ringy, they done nothing to deserve to win that game. And yeah, they look like a team in disarray. I mean, with Liverpool, I keep doing comparisons to other teams, but with Liverpool's problems, you understand it
Yeah.
because of the way they play. They're playing gun-ho style. How do you concede as much as Tottenham do, playing five at, and then having two stick defensive midfielders and dropping off and going into a low block? You know, how are you that terrible? Like they're conceding chances for fun.
It comes down to one thing.
Brighton are an excellent team, but
they got Eric Dyer in defense. Eric Dyer in defense. England international.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But I mean, can they get into top four with Stellini and Mason in charge? Can they push them? Because obviously they're 3 points on.
I said at the time when they made that decision, you can, the league's gone a different level now.
Or are they in risk of maybe even losing the Europa League spots because obviously teams behind them are catching them up?
They're at risk. I don't know what the fixture list is like, but you think they'll scrape through because of again that firepower of Harry Kane and Son, Kulusevski and Richarlison. The one area that they have got right is their forward line. I mean, those players all can score.
The fixture list doesn't look too great for them either. Really? Next one's a good one, probably Bournemouth, but who's doing well under Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, but Bournemouth at home is difficult.
No, away. Bournemouth are away. But then they got Newcastle away, Manchester United at home, Liverpool away, Palace, Aston Villa away, Brentford at home, and then Leeds away. So, woo!
Yeah, at least 6 of those are quite tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they are definitely at risk. It's going to come down to some of those head-to-heads, really. Brentford against Brentford. Liverpool. Obviously, they won this head-to-head against Brighton, but it's still Brighton. I still think if they win the game in hand, will go above.
Yeah, no. The game in hands. One is against Man City, and the other is away at Newcastle. So,
but again, Brighton is a team. If they finish their chances, they can beat anybody. But they have
valid.
They have outplayed every team. Even City, they've outplayed City. They've outplayed Liverpool in Anfield twice.
Yeah.
So, I think in the cup and in the thingy, in the league.
In the league, when Trossard scored a hat-trick,
Yeah, so I just think, if they get their shooting boots right, no one's going to be looking forward to playing Brighton.
Yeah. And I mean, a surprise package, Aston Villa. I mean, they since Emery's come in, I think he's third in the league table, if you call it, since when
since he's come in.
He's third behind Arsenal and Man City. So he's really changed this Aston Villa team, and they're up to 6 now. No one talked about it, no one saw him anywhere, and all of a sudden they're 6th place at him.
Yeah, I mean, they play to win, and that's the main thing is, they play to win, they play to attack. And it's very impressive. I mean, we know, Emery always does this. When he goes into a club, he always starts with the, consecutive wins and, starts getting all these club honors for best star and this. The problem is when it goes into second, third year is when he keeping that motivation and keeping that. But in a one season sprint, we know he's one of those managers that always has a very good first season, and Yeah, he's a good manager. What do you expect? And this is the thing. Even he is a very tactical manager. When you look at it, those teams that you got Stellini at Tottenham, you got Lampard at um, Chelsea, got Klopp, who isn't that tactical type of manager. They're, they're all going to struggle unless they adapt and step up next year because the league has evolved again, and you have to one step up to the mark, and then two find a different solution.
Yeah. But I mean, talking of Lampard, what do you because obviously after we spoke about it last time, potentially Nagelsmann or Enrique coming through, that I think it was the same day after we done the video, news came that Frank Lampard's gonna take over Chelsea as a caretaker manager. So, what's your reaction to that before we get into the actual match which he lost?
I think this is it's crazy. I think it's crazy. I mean, you're better off with Potter. I know not for the fans, and I think what this proves is Bowley has done everything he can just to keep the fans happy. But the thing is, Chelsea are an odd bunch because their fans are their fans are quite educated. So and because of the way the club has always been, which is ruthless, the fans are ruthless as well.
Yeah.
So they're not like normal clubs where it's a club legend coming back that they're gonna be washed and brainwashed by that.
It's actually been a mixed response from them.
That's what I mean. But any other club, a club legend coming back like that, even if they flopped before, they're getting a lot more positive from the fan base than what you're currently seeing. You're seeing mixed. Well, Mojota is saying it's a bad decision. Bowley doesn't know what he's doing. From what I've seen, it still kept the heat on Bowley. So I'm not sure it's ticked the box in terms of what they're trying to. They panicked. They had every right to panic. Potter was struggling.
Yeah.
But they've replaced panic with a panic.
Isn't it better off leaving? Isn't it better off leaving? If that was the case, you're doing the work in the background to find a new manager. Isn't it better off leaving Graham Potter there because he's been managing them for a while. He knows the players. Rather than getting Lampard in, who, I mean, let's be honest, he went and stank up Everton. He kept them up, that's because the other teams were more poor. But
it's because the other teams couldn't win.
He stank up Everton, got sacked. Let's be honest, and he's not the greatest of manager in the world because at Chelsea again before he got after he got sacked, he wasn't doing great either. Again, he had issues, tactical issues, and that's what you're gonna need. You're gonna play Real Madrid.
I said I'm gonna go one step further. Forget is it better about Potter because we know Potter was. It was better keeping Bruno Salta. All right, forget Potter. It was better keeping Bruno Salta in charge. Look, and you're gonna call me crazy, and people will think I'm making a joke out of it on some anti-Chelsea flag. No, I'm not. Look at it from a factual point of view. You've seen one game each from both caretaker managers, yeah? One game each. Who had the harder game? Salta had the harder game against Liverpool. They absolutely outplayed Liverpool. They should have won that 2-4-0 comfortably.
They should have, yes.
Yeah. And then you got this abject performance against Wolves. Yeah, great, won the goal. But you know what? They did not create chances.
No.
They didn't look like scoring any goals. What did he change? He practically kept the same players. The performance.
A lot of people would say there isn't much he can change, but
the performance was worse.
He straight away called out the players straight after obviously in his press conference saying that there was no aggression, there was no fight from the players. So
no, but doesn't that worry you that a club legend comes back and he hasn't been able to lift them in 2 days?
Yeah.
Doesn't that worry you that he on his 4th day or 3rd day in office he's having to call the players out? That means you haven't done enough to motivate them in the first place. So that already is sinking before it's even started. That ship had a hole in it before it got finished making.
Well,
That,
they're not gonna get relegated, and they're not gonna get.
right? The 1 point
No,
off the magic 40
listen,
point
they're,
mark.
they're on 39 points. I don't think there's any chance of them
Uh,
getting relegated. But I don't think they'll go much higher up, anyways. So I mean,
they're going to go down. Look at Crystal Palace of hit form. Look over your shoulders.
I did just forget. He's not gonna
They're
do
saying
that.
that. I'm not saying it just to be as a joke. But the 8 games left.
8 games left. Yes, yes.
What's the gap? 3 points? I mean, 4 points, 5 points
Well,
between
from Crystal
Crystal
Palace,
Palace and
6 points.
Chelsea.
6 points. Yeah, 6 points.
Let's see in it.
Right. So you think Crystal Palace is gonna overtake them?
They could. I think they could.
All right. Okay. I know what I think they'll finish in the top 10. I'll go for it. I think they'll finish in the top 10. 10 or
They should
above.
do. They should do. But like, again, let's see if they got some tough fixture list.
Oh man.
I'm back in Roy. I'm back in Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, talking of managers, Roy's back. We got Roy's back, and
But I
some
said it last week, innit, that Crystal Palace will. You can see
yeah,
them getting out
a
any.
thumping winner leads against one of your relegation rivals, a 6-pointer you could call it, and it seems to have kind of lifted all the pressure and the mood off the Crystal Palace because they're up to 12 now, 33 points. What is it? 1 second, sorry. 6 points clear of relegation drop.
Yeah, I think it's more the confidence they gain from that. To say the truth, for the first half an hour of that game, Leeds were scintillating.
Yeah.
And the football they were playing, the attacking, the way they're opening up. Crystal Palace were really struggling to live with Leeds. They've managed to get a bit of footing in the game through free kicks. And then they realized through the goal and through those free kicks, they realized the flaw in this Leeds defense, which no one has really called that. Not one of them can jump and not one of them can header a ball. That whole back line, every single corner, every single free kick, they lost. They could not win a header. And nearly all the goals, other than maybe Eze's 1-2, most of them were all through crosses.
All through crosses, yeah.
Because Leeds was so abject in defending any cross that came into the box. And it's just smart management. Ultimately, Crystal Palace found the one weakness Leeds had, and they just attacked it non-stop, and they got 4 or 5 goals because of it. You couldn't get a bigger turnaround, in a game. Because before the last 5 minutes of that half, it was all Leeds, and Leeds was so impressive. And I was really impressed with the way they're playing until they capsized.
But do you think Leeds have enough for them to stay up?
Looking at
their form hasn't been that bad because out of the last 5, they won 2, drew 1, and lost 2. So,
looking at that performance, I think they'll be all right. They're gonna cut teams open. They're gonna create loads of chances. It depends how many teams are gonna be pragmatic the way Crystal Palace and Roy Hodgson is. He saw the weakness and he just told them get balls in the box because no one can get a ball.
And they done it without Zaha as well, which was a massive chink in their armor, but they done it without.
Let's see. I think let's see how many teams recognize the weakness in the back line that none of them are comfortable defending against crosses.
Yeah. The other teams, let's move on to the 3 teams who are in absolute shocking form. Nottingham Forest have obviously Steve Cooper, we said in the last podcast, might be the next one to be sacked, but their board has come out and said that obviously we trust him and we're going to keep him. But in terms of Leicester, Rodgers, obviously they got rid of Rodgers with mutual consent. They tried getting in, I think, Jesse Marsh, which seems like it's not going to go through now. Is it just seems like panic mode and just don't know what they're doing? Because that's what it feels like to me.
I think the Jesse Marsh thing is a bit harsh because I think they're talking to a number of managers. Jesse Marsh, in his own interest, is his agent or his camp is making sure that those private conversations become public knowledge. So I don't think he was ever offered it, or he's just a candidate they spoke to, like they've spoken to others.
I know. I think they were really close with him.
Because now there's people from the Leicester camp made it very clear they didn't offer him the job. They never even got that close. So I think it's just Jesse Marsh and his agents making sure they keep his name right up there because he really wants to come back to the Premiership. He's got the bug and everyone wants to be in the Premiership.
Yeah.
So let's see. I mean, definitely they can't continue. I mean, it's a bit like what we said about both the Tottenham and the Chelsea, but they're not inspiring performances. I mean, the performance levels is going down from where it was when you sacked your manager. And Leicester's to get totally dominated by Bournemouth like that at home, and then to see Maddison crumble under the pressure of the situation. I just think they desperately need a man. They're better off even getting Sam Allardyce at this point. They need to get someone in, just to get some direction, some leadership, because they need to get some.
I think when I look at their fixture list, obviously apart from probably the next fixture and probably the last two, they're playing all the teams that are in around them. So if they pick up 2 or 3 wins, they're out of because you're beating the teams right next to you.
But I'm sure the fans and everyone thought that when they were playing Bournemouth at home.
Yeah, but I mean managerless, so I mean
they got caretaker.
Come on, man! You see what's happening with all the caretakers.
So I just think, they are desperate for a leadership that is going to be very clear and really give some direction. And I don't know, this idea of this is the thing I don't understand is, with Rodgers, the results weren't there, but the performances were. It's just he didn't know how to coach the team to defend anymore.
Yeah, and he lost faith in some of the players that I think.
And you can tell there's a lot of politics in the club, Soyuncu, and there's a lot of issues. But do you remember last year when I predicted this because there are clubs that make this mistake all the time where they think they're too big.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to sell NDD, and they said no to offers for Soyuncu, and they held on to other players for too long, and they didn't sell Tielemans, and now you got half your squad that are just looking to go elsewhere. And that really brings it down. We said that's what happened to Eddie Howe at Bournemouth. He wouldn't sell Ake, wouldn't sell players that were top 4 teams were going for. You can't deny these players those type of opportunities. And by keeping them, you might think you're keeping the fans happy and you're showing ambition, but guess what? You end up relegated because you lose the whole team spirit. Because every single player knows that is not fair to deny a life-changing opportunity like that to players who are serving you well.
Yeah.
So I think all the teams that do that, I always start predicting they're going to get relegated the next season. I said it last year, what happens to Leicester this year? And we're seeing it. We're seeing it because they forgot that they're a selling club and they tried showing too much ambition as if they don't have to sell players. But guess what? You're not going to get commitment from players if you keep them.
No. I mean, that seems like the case. Obviously, I think Maddison, Tielemans, they all won away. They're in trouble. Nottingham. I mean, Nottingham Forest and Southampton. I mean, when I look at the form table, it's just abysmal. They haven't won in the last 5. Southampton. I mean, Nottingham Forest came down. I think they were 12 from 12th to now 18th place. And they just look in trouble. They can't get a win, especially away from home. They seem to just can't do anything. They just fumble.
Yeah, with Southampton, I think it's dire because Ruben Sellers, he's improved them, but they don't look like they're going to win. The performances aren't terrible though, not like Leicester or the other teams, but they just don't have enough. And I thought they actually played quite well. But I can't who they lose to at the end. City. They actually played well until the first goal. They were competing. They were playing well. You could see an idea what they're trying to do. But City will do that to anyone, and Haaland's second goal, what a goal that was.
Yeah,
but Leicester, they got the positive of at least they haven't said this manager is their permanent manager till the end of the season, so they might get a boost. Yeah. And I think anyone company will give that club a boost. They still have awesome players. They still got they got good strikers. They got a lot of good pieces still there. It needs a decent manager.
It just needs a voice. It just needs a new voice to kind of reignite them, really.
Yeah. But it has to be someone those players are going to respect.
Yeah.
I do think it needs to be kind of a big name. It needs to be someone they're going to respect.
But who is going to be? Which big name would come down to Leicester at this?
I don't know if any big name would come down, but it needs to be someone who's very authoritarian.
And Nottingham Forest, Adu. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah,
go down because
they like as I touched on it last week.
Their fixture list is just ridiculous. If you consider them to the other relegation contenders, their fixture list is really difficult. They got United at home, then they got Liverpool, Brighton, Brentford, Southampton, Chelsea away, Arsenal, and then Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the right looking positive for. And the thing is, what I didn't like about them was they took Niakate off after the mistake, but the mistake was never his. The mistake was Jojo Shelby's. Who the heck plays a blind pass in the 6-yard box to their defender, who's not even looking and not even ready for it? Yeah. And then you have the nerve to blame your defender, who's just coming back from 3 months out injured. Still is 100% sharp, fit. And I thought
you're gonna kill his confidence as well.
It left a bad taste when they actually took him off. And guess what? They conceded second after that, and I thought, you know what, Steve Cooper, as much as I like you, that was wrong because it was Shelby's fault, and you're kind of singling out players for mistakes that it wasn't even their fault. So yeah, I'm getting worried about them. It's a shame because it's a club that I think it should be a Premiership.
Definitely.
But like I said, the fixture list, and they're a team that has Price completely ripped up the script and started again. And I don't know why they did that in January. You already signed so many players, started to get things settled, and now you've kind of alienated the players by replacing the players you signed in the summer. And yeah, I think too ambitious, too soon.
They're in trouble. I think they're really in trouble because that fixture list just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, they weren't signing all these flair players. What are flair players going to do in a relegation scrap?
Nothing.
Scarpa and what is it, Denilson, and who else they brought another?
Danilo, yeah.
Felipe and Danilo, yeah, and you just think you needed to consolidate. I think they got ahead of themselves and thought they were.
I think they thought they would survive because of how many points
one that they had been on, and And
I think they thought they'll pick up probably those points. Well, crazy at the bottom. I think it's done for Southampton. 23 points. I mean, they are what 4 points behind the next team, and I think Everton's obviously going to get out from there. They're on 27 points as well because in their last 5 games they've only lost one, which was against United. But I do, all in all, thank you. For those of you watching, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and those of you 87% who are watching and not subscribing, please make sure you subscribe. Thank you.